I went in because I noticed that I had a little tiny lump behind my neck and it wasn't very big. It almost felt like a zit. It looked like my skin color, so it didn't look like a mole, but I kind of thought it was a raised mole. It was very weird. I contacted my primary doctor and I just asked her if I could get it removed. And while she was at it, I asked her if she could remove a couple other moles. I went in to have these moles removed, you guys, and I've had moles removed many, many times over the last 2 decades. I live in a super small town. I had to drive an hour to their location, to a town of about 8,000 people. That's the best I could do for my health care, and I really didn't think it was a big deal because, like I said, I've had moles removed tons of times over the last 2 decades. It's always a very simple procedure. She had me lay down on the bed. I didn't know until I was laying on the table that she was doing punch biopsies. I still didn't have a concern. I've had a punch biopsy done once before, but it was very unusual. And then it wasn't until she was actually stitching me up that she said, "Oh, I'm doing a really good job stitching you up because I don't want you to have any scarring and these stitches look beautiful." And then she's telling me that she did 3 stitches per incision, and that was concern. That's a red flag, because why would I need 3 stitches for a mole that's about this big, like a 1 millimeter, 2 millimeter, tiny little thing? She ended up using massive punch biopsies. I didn't know it at the time. First, you guys, the cancer that I have right here is basal cell carcinoma. It was discovered that I also have something that's super abnormal that was a tiny little mole, even though she took out a huge chunk of skin, and that needs to be re-excised as well, which is very surprising. And I have another thing that's abnormal that does not need to be re-excised, but it's kind of identical to the one that does. It just isn't to the level of abnormality yet. Atypical moles are characterized as having irregular features underneath the microscope. They're a risk factor for developing melanoma, and if the cells are abnormal enough, they can be actually mistaken for melanoma because the appearance is so similar. So they really want to get at it and get it out. And I don't know all the details about this one, but I know that the standard procedure for moles that are this abnormal is to re-excise. That skin cancer had actually infiltrated almost all of that entire area that was cut out, even though the bump itself was just real tiny. And the cancer filled, like I said, the whole area, and it ended about 0.6 millimeters from the edge of the biopsy. The cancer also developed a stronger blood supply, showing an enlarged blood vessel in it. So because the cancer was in that entire area, that's why I need to go back in and to see a specialist dermatology surgeon. He's going to reopen the wound and re-excise it in a method called Mohs procedure. They basically cut out an excess amount so that the cancer doesn't come back. With the procedure, they cut a slice out and they look at it underneath the microscope, and then they cut some more out if they need to, look at it again, and they keep doing that. Whatever you do, do not look this procedure up on Google, because the pictures that come up are mostly pictures of skin cancer on the face with the procedure being done, and they're really not good, you guys. They're pretty graphic. I'm really grateful that my skin cancer issue is not on my face. So the doctor will do that repeatedly until enough of the skin is removed so that the cancer does not return. I'm going to keep you guys posted. If any of you have experienced any of these things or you've been in this situation, please feel free to share your experience down below if you're comfortable doing so.